All right, well, as promised, we are now joined by Arizona Republican Senator John McCain. It is good to have you with us, Senator. Welcome.
Thank you, Martha.
You know, I just want to first get your thoughts on this oil spill issue because it's out of control by all accounts, and now they're trying to make this top fit on it. The president's going to go back down there tomorrow is the latest word that we're getting. He's taken a lot of heat for how he's handled this and for the leadership in this. If you were in his shoes, which you very well might have been during this crisis, what would you have done?
Well, I would have declared it a federal responsibility and taken over from a federal standpoint immediately. I would have paid a lot more attention to Governor Bobby Jindal, the governor of Louisiana, where, you know, the area that's bearing the biggest brunt of this terrible tragedy. But, you know, it's easy to second guess the President of the United States, but I would have relied a lot more on Bobby Jindal and a lot of the local authorities down there who certainly have a degree of expertise that we should pay close attention to.
Do you think there's anything unfair about the criticism that he's getting on this, that there are limits to what the federal government should do, or do you think he could have done more?
When you're in the position of responsibility, then you have to take the responsibility. I noticed that in the last year or so, the president has reverted to his old BIOB, that's blame it on Bush routine. I certainly wouldn't do that. But it is, you know, it's what Harry Truman said, the buck stops there. But at the same time, I want the president to succeed. We all want this terrible tragedy stopped, and we hope in that latest breaking news that you just announced that it's successful, and we're all behind that effort.
Yeah, indeed we are. We certainly hope it works. I want to talk to you a little bit now about a big meeting that's going to happen today with the governor of your state, Governor Jan Brewer. She is going to sit down with the president. You've had somewhat testy discussions with him over what's going on in the Arizona border. What kind of, what do you think what's the response she's going to get from the president, would you expect today?
Well, I hope that she gets a good response from the president. I'm glad he's meeting with her. I don't think he quite understands the situation on the border. This is the drug area where the most vicious of all the drug cartels, Sinaloa cartel, sends their drugs, billions and billions of dollars worth. It's spread all over the country. We're the second kidnapping capital of the world, behind Phoenix, Arizona, behind Mexico City. Our people in the southern part of our state do not have secure lives, and the fact is that the numbers are staggering. But also the president should understand that we can secure the border. John Kyle and I have a 10-point plan, but the fact is we've made improvements in places like San Diego and parts of Texas and others. A combination of personnel, surveillance, and fencing, we can do that, and it's the obligation of government to do so. And also maybe the Department of Homeland Security Secretary and the Attorney General would read the bill.
Yeah, well, we understand your point there. And what did you think of the fact that when you all sat down with him and talked to him about the border issues, and a lot of people feel that he should spend more time, or he talked to the people there, and so that he could learn firsthand a little bit more about what you're describing there. But after that meeting, he went back to the Oval Office, or went back to work, and then, without saying anything to you folks, set out, we're going to send up to 1,200 troops to the border. Did you think that was odd, that he did it in that order?
Well, I thought it was odd that he wouldn't mention it to us at a luncheon that was supposed to be an effort to improve bipartisanship in our work together. I thought that was rather odd. And by the way, we find out these are to go to desk jobs. We need the Guard military presence on the border. So it was a little odd. But the fact is that I don't think the president understands how serious this issue is and its effect on the entire country, not just Arizona, and that Arizona acted out of frustration over the federal government's failure to carry out its responsibilities to secure the border.
Do you think that Governor Brewer can get more troops? I know you want 6,000. She said that's one of the main things she's going to ask for today. Think she can get it?
I don't know. I hope so. I think that it's very clear that the majority of the American people in all the polls that I see support what we're trying to do here in Arizona, a secure border, an immigration law that's effective and fair. So I hope that the president will react and the administration will react to the overwhelming majority of the American people, including opposition to these boycotts, which are terribly harmful to many Hispanic citizens of our state.
You know, you've been criticized in the past for the way that you have approached the immigration issue, the illegal immigration issue in Arizona. Open to a guest worker program, open to a path to citizenship. You know, is there anything looking back that you would change about the urgency that you had about what's going on your border?
Well, I've said since 2007 that we need to secure the border first. As I have watched the escalation of the drug cartels, the violence, 22,000 Mexican citizens have been murdered in these drug cartels versus government versus drug cartels. This is a threat to the very existence of the government of Mexico. As I have watched the violence escalate, and there is no doubt about that violence escalating on the other side of the border and spilling over onto our side of the border as well, that the urgency of securing the border has increased in my view as well, as those circumstances have become more compelling than they were several years ago.
You say the president doesn't understand what's going on down there. What did you think of the fact that he's, very willing to sit down with President Calderon, very willing to listen to his criticism of this Arizona law, and yet it took, a change in the schedule to agree to sit down and talk to the governor today?
Well, I just say better late than never, and I'm sure that our governor will present a very strong case for what we need, and as I mentioned, surveillance, personnel, and completing the fence. And I hope that the president will maybe take an opportunity sometime, maybe on his way back from Louisiana, to stop by the border and see how it really is. And what a great job the Border Patrol are doing. They just need more help.
Need more help. All right. Before I let you go, I want to talk to you a little bit about Israel and this flotilla incident that happened. A lot of criticism aimed at Israel right now. What do you think about the president's response to this? And again, how would you handle it differently?
I would have stood up for the Israeli effort to prevent arms and other equipment being imported into Gaza, which is run by Hamas, or is dedicated to the extinction of the state of Israel. I think it would be really important that we understand that the Israelis offered to offload this equipment, inspect it, and unload it back on, to making sure that it was for humanitarian purposes before it was moved in. I regret the death of any person, but the fact is Hamas is dedicated to the extinction of the state of Israel. I visited a town that was being shelled from Gaza back in 2008. So the Israelis get this harsh commendation from all over the world, and yet when the North Koreans sink a South Korean ship and the Iranians continue to develop nuclear weapons, the response of the world is muted. Remarkable. You
think that the president hasn't been strong enough in his extended hand and friendship to Israel?
Oh, from the beginning, when he demanded a freeze on the settlements in Jerusalem, which is part of the capital of Israel, to this allowing resolutions to go through that condemn Israel, to look, we have not been standing up for the state of Israel the way we should, and we've been putting pressures on them which have caused the greatest deterioration of relations between the United States and Israel in the history of that country.
All right, Senator John McCain in an election fight in Arizona right now with J.D. Hayworth in a nomination. We hope you'll come back and talk to us again before the election. Good to see you, sir.
Thanks for having me on, Martha.
All right, good to see you. Senator John McCain from Arizona.